But these days, and especially since I started uh, working with Crossroads,
Hmm.
the 5-MeO DMT was a very powerful, like, extreme therapy.
Right.
Like,
What's that exactly?
it's the venom of the Sonoran Desert Toad,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Which are squeezed out of the glands and
Yeah.
dried,
Hmm.
and then you vaporize it,
See.
and it's incredibly powerful
I've
stuff.
seen it. Yeah, I've seen. Also here in Spain, they do it. They call it by another name, like bufado, something like that.
Yeah, Bufo.
Bufo.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go. Yeah.
which is toad.
Yeah.
Uh, and so yeah, it's that. After about 3 sessions with that, it it really did a large amount of work,
Okay.
and both with the 5-MeO, and then a month later, or actually, I'm sorry, just a week later with the ayahuasca in Peru, I had very profound experiences where for all intents and purposes, I experienced my death on a couple of levels.
Okay.
First, a pure ego death, where my consciousness, memory,
Hmm.
and sense of corporeal presence all vanished, and I was
Okay.
just a blob.
Right.
That was
Blob of
interesting.
light, or
I was. It felt like being stuck in a marshmallow.
okay.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I was just kind of frozen in this like white puffy space,
Okay.
and it was actually quite terrifying, to be honest.
Right.
Wasn't anything about it that made any sense
Hmm.
at the time, and it was the first time I had felt like serious fear
Okay.
in a long time.
Hmm.
The next ayahuasca experience was to take that and extrapolate it over 6 hours and
What,
go
the
through
ayahuasca?
of crossing over, of
Hmm.
going through what I thought, and it's a very long story, so I won't like take it
Sure.
up here.
Sure.
But I mean, I literally thought that essentially what I wanted to accomplish and heal required me to die, to let go of my body,
Hmm.
because I was trying to rescue my sister's soul, which I felt was trapped
Hmm.
somewhere in the dark void because she had committed suicide.
Right.
And in the process of trying to do this, it was like it was told to me that, well, the only way to do this is to cross over. So I
Right.
had to go through the process of letting go of my life for 6 hours, thinking
Hmm.
that that was actually happening.
Right. Okay.
So all I can say though is that once you've faced that, once you've had to like accept your own death and consciously let go of it,
Hmm.
all from your own choice, right? One of the interesting side effects is that you are left with very little fear,
Okay.
because I mean, what really is there to fear? Like, nagging so many of the neuroses that
Hmm.
push us around these days is the fear of death, the fear of not being able to live life to its fullest before it's taken
Right.
from us. And having dealt with 3 years of, with 3 people very close to me committing suicide and 3 others being, killed through violence or accident,
Okay.
6 others dying through accident or violence.
Hmm.
Death was everywhere, and it almost became this like weird self-fulfilling prophecy that I was pushing myself towards the same end.
Okay.
Uh, now, now I feel as different today from how I felt a year ago,
Okay.
uh, as one can feel. Like, now I see I don't have any desire to end this life now
Hmm.
that I'm in. I've learned to, like, so much of what I felt was haunting me, whether you want to call it a shadow, a demon, or any type of ingrained pattern that didn't let
Right.
you see or hear anything beyond, that's gone.
Hmm.
Those, I'm very like conscious of my emotional state as it shifts, like from moment to moment now. It's
Right.
almost like I'm not being blindsided by my emotions
Okay.
as I used to. And I just don't feel that persistent sense of fear. Like, at some point, it just snapped in my head how much I've lived through and survived, and how every time, I really just kind of set my intention and my mind to something, it all
Hmm.
works out.
Right.
I've never really been abandoned or left to suffer unless I'm actively doing it to myself through addiction.
Right.
Okay. So now when I talk to people, now I have this like really large capacity for people with deep trauma to be able to talk about it and share it with me.
Okay.
And it doesn't have a triggering effect.
Right. Interesting.
I have like a very deep sense of compassion now that I haven't really had before. But now, once all of my own personal fear was out of the way, then it just became this, oh, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and you're safe here, you know? And then that really grew with the experience with the men in Peru. And then coming back, seeing everyone's response to this and how many other people come out of the woodwork right then when they see something that gives them hope, and realizing that, you know, they're all still really sick and having to deal with all of the different stuff. Now it's like I know where to draw the border. Okay, listen, if you're going to bring me this hostility or this drama, I'm going to have to draw a border here. And why don't you come back when you're ready to...
fair enough, yeah.
You know, and I can't save you, so I'm not going to chase you here. You know?
You're making some interesting points there. One is that as you grow and work through your traumas, that what I hear from you is that you have a lot more resilience and capacity. And the other thing, what I hear, I'm not putting you on a cloud, and the other thing, what I hear from you is that you're able to set boundaries. And those two things, that they seem very important to me. Again, coming from a working perspective as well, that I had to set... One of the things that is fundamental to me, what I mentioned earlier, is the working through the emotional residue and then working through the habit of illness. And one of the other kind of pillars I work with is the ability to be vulnerable again when you've been hurt, and the ability to set boundaries, and what I call the great marriage between the two, being able to be vulnerable and being able to set boundaries. And that really provides you kind of your framework to move through life and being in relationship with people. Very largely put out there, of course, but...
Yeah, and being clear on what one's own conflict is I think that was another thing that really helped me out.
Right.
Now, you know, knowing where to divide, like, okay, this is mine and this isn't, but then also like becoming much more aware of my impact on others, from the subtle, from the just the imperceptible, like a gesture or an expression, to the active, where I'm, you know, blasting back out at other people.
Right.
And thankfully, I've just had some mirrors in people, a series of mirrors that really kind of helped me see. You know, you get the new awareness, and then a bunch of people pop up in your life as mirrors to reinforce it. Yeah. And then you kind of say, oh, okay, yes, a real change has happened here. So I can breathe. I can step back. You know?
Have you also noticed over the years you start meeting other people or different people while you're changing your own patterns, that old friends might not be friends anymore, and you start to make new friends or new connections because you become a different person?
Yeah. And people who were prior afraid or wary to come closer because of the prior conflict, they start to recognize the change in you, and they start approaching you too and saying, hey, I can see this change in you. I'm no longer afraid to engage with you. I'm excited to hear or see this new person. And that more than anything else, I think that's one that you can put in the bank as a solid kind of, okay, I've accomplished something here. Like, I've come full circle with someone. You know, that's good evidence. And I like that a lot. This particularly 2016 has been a year of me like really like putting to rest so many past conflicts. You know, there have been some people I've had to let go of because I realized they're not on the same path. That's hard. Some of those hurt, you know. When you find that people that you love or care about aren't who you thought they were. You know, crisis really brings out the true character. You know?
You know? It does.
And the people that run, you know, A lot of people do that, and it's heartbreaking. But yeah, there's not much you can do about it. And I hate to resort to cliche, Roland, but it is kind of true that as one door closes, another opens, and
it doesn't open before you close one.
Playing with this idea of attachment and this idea that, like, okay, I'm just going to continue moving forward. I'm not going to look back. I'm going to have to trust and faith that this feeling is important. It's going to take me on this path. I have to let go of whatever doesn't come along with me and trust that wherever I'm coming is good.
Right. Yeah. Again, one of the other difficulties that you don't really know where you're going, and you're following a gut feeling.
Yeah.
And it's leaving. You have to leave the past before you can move. Before you can move into the future. You can't hold both doors open and still be moving forward.
So true. It's so true. And that's when then I think, like, that's what the Buddhists really mean by attachment. That you can't, like, attachment is standing in between, in the doorway.
Right.
Holding on to one person or thing in each room.
Yeah.
And not making a choice.
We want to have the security first of knowing what's coming before we kind of close the door of the past. And that kind of keeps us in suspension and keeps us suffering as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I recommend is to completely fuck your life up completely. That way you have nothing left.
Well, that's a bit toughly put.
You can just march forward. Excuse me.
Good.
Anything else?
No, I think we've been talking for about 50 minutes now, so it's good to bring it to an end there. Thank you you shared a lot of personal material this time, so I really appreciate that to share that.
I appreciate you doing this. I think we need more of these types of discussions and familiarity with these types of things.
Yeah. No, also because you're coming from your own background of going through trauma, having had several suicide incidences in your life. So you're talking from real experiences, that are severe experiences, and going through it and seeing the complexity of it, that you have to go several cycles through it, and it doesn't just happen after addressing it once. You might have to address the same things in different ways of expression multiple times, and you might have relapses, or you might have to say goodbye to some people and embrace new situations and make hard choices, and that's all part of the process. And it's good to point out or realize that change is it's not a straight line, it's a bumpy affair that has ups and downs. And also, not to have too high of an expectation, but really take it one step at a time. And again, we're talking about complex trauma. When I work with people who have gone through a car accident and it doesn't have a lot of past history to it, you can work through it quite quickly, like 5 sessions sometimes does the job. But you might have people who have gone through a car accident and that have a lot of past issues related or attached to that, like childhood trauma, neglect, abuse, and that has sort of compounded up to a situation where they're traumatized again by a car accident, and then the baggage that's been accumulated for so long just impacts on top of that car accident. So sometimes we don't see it. We just see that I've gone through an accident, and why am I suffering from so many things? When you start to dig a bit deeper, then you see that, hold on, there's so much more that's behind that hasn't been looked at. And the car accident is just a wake-up call, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Well, let's finish here, and we can meet again for another conversation and open up another topic. Thank you so much for meeting today.